Have you ever wanted to cheese outward so hard with a build that your last name gets legally changed to Cheddar? Well, now you can with this OP Bow Hexmage build. This insane build allows you to cast Jinx on an enemy without ever drawing aggro from them. With the use of the Hunter's Eye passive skill and a bow, you can now cast Jinx with such a huge range that enemies' AI doesn't even realize what's happening. I would consider this build the coup de grace of Hexmage builds, the final blow in the 9 Studios build coffin, the Mona Lisa of OP builds. Let's run through what we are going to need to achieve this build's full potential. For the breakthrough points, we will take Bloodlust, of course for Lockwell's Revelation, Jinx, Torment and Rupture. Next, we follow through with Daredevil for the prime skill, as well as the passive Blitz for speed boost, allowing us to kite enemies if needed. Finally, we take Survivor's Resilience for that extra health points, which never hurts in this game, and of course all the bow skills. But the main skill we want from this tree is the Hunter's Eye, which grants us double the range we normally would have. This skill gives us such a huge advantage, it's just crazy. I'll show you guys a couple of combat rotations later, but for now let's finish up with the rest of the requirements for this build. For the faction, we want to take the Sorobor Academy for the Logistics Expert, which gives us another 10% cooldown reduction for spamming spells. Moving on to the armor. In the head slot, we want to use the Tenebros Helm, which gives us some good elemental damage. But early game, you could also consider using the Scholar Circlet for the massive 10% cooldown reduction. For the chest piece, we use the Antique Plate Garb for more elemental damage. Since this is a Hexmage build, we want to stack as much elemental damage as possible. And the Tenebros Boots for even more elemental damage. I'm sure you're starting to see a pattern here. We are stacking damage and cooldown reduction for max DPS. For the weapon, we want to use the Astral Bow, which is really an insane weapon to use in this build because it boosts all relevant elements in our Hexmage, while giving us the ability to exploit the Hunter's Eye skill. For arrows, we can use the Soul Rupture arrows for extra ethereal damage. For the backpack, we can use the Buzu Hides pack because it doesn't interrupt our roll. And if you're like me and dislike dropping your bag, this works wonders. The main skills that we need to be effective are the 5 main boons. Of course, this helps with increasing our hex damage. We grab Prime from the Speedster. This will help pull off some double spam attacks I will touch on later. The usual Jinx, Torment and Rupture for hexing, and then all of our bow skills like Strafing Run, Evasion, Piercing and Sniper Shot. For the enchants, we use Snow on the bow, which gives us a huge advantage over enemies, allowing us to halt them to a crawl while they are chasing us, making kiting such a trivial task. With our chest piece, we can use the Spirit of Omatin, again boosting our elemental damage substantially. For the headpiece, we can use Order of Discipline, because not only does it boost our lightning damage, it also grants us 10% movement bonus speed. And finishing up with our boots, we use Speed and Efficiency for more movement speed and cooldown reduction. Our basic combat loop is relatively simple. Of course, we make sure all of our boons are active during any combat encounter. We spam Jinx. Once we have the needed hexes applied, we can use Sniper Shot to pull aggro. Once the enemy is close, we can spam Torment, and to finish off, we can use Rupture. Now, if you miscalculated and the enemy is still breathing, you can use any of your bow skills to put them down for good. An alternate loop you could try is to use Sniper Shot, cast Prime, do 2 strafing runs, use Torment, and then Rupture. This is something you can do in a pinch for more insane damage, or if you just want to change things up a little bit. One thing I want to mention about the Hunter's Eye passive is that yes, it does apply to Jinx, letting you cast at double the range. But it doesn't apply to Torment and Rupture. So be careful when you use these spells too early and the enemy is out of the standard range, you will waste these skills. That's why I argue it's better to jinx the enemy up and pull them closer with a few bow attacks, getting in free damage. And once the enemy is in the standard Torment and Rupture range, you're good to go. Just keep that in mind. A few times in my run I wanted to use these skills, but because the enemy was out of range of them, it actually threw off my rotation, wasting cooldowns and precious mana.